I think it's a great performance by Novo Nordisk, fully expected. I think it's a very strong company. It's interesting that they've raised their annual guidance a little bit, which is fine. And really, there was no other expectation other than continued growth and substantial growth. This is extraordinary growth of 20-25%. And analysts now expecting it to continue.
It is being billed as Europe's Nvidia for very good reasons as well, in terms of you are first in the race to a new and exciting technology. I mean, obviously you're not an Nvidia expert as well, but you would have seen the oscillation of that share price as well. This stock has rallied in the last 5 years, almost to the day, from 161 Danish kroner to nearly 900 Danish kroner as well. Do you have any thoughts on the market's view of that growth story and the increased outlook compared with the share price performance?
I think the growth story in pharmaceuticals, which is different in technology, is you have this natural patent expiry. You do have it less so for someone like Nvidia. Now, Novo Nordisk has to keep innovating. That is the key. And I think although it's great to look at Wegovy and semaglutide, the underlying molecule, and see all the growth potential in that, they're going to have to come up with more and more and more stuff in innovation to keep that machine rolling. So that's the challenge, I think, for any pharma company, as Pfizer has seen in making fantastic successes in COVID-19 and then falling off a cliff because it couldn't do it again quickly enough. So I think Novo has to just keep the R&D machine going.
I've got a really ignorant but obvious question. How long does it keep a patent for? Because we talk about patent cliffs all the time. Just update me on my ignorance of how long this company can keep its ownership of Wegovy.
I don't know the exact number on Wegovy and semaglutide, but basically I know it starts from when you basically file the first patent, which is usually in quite early stage development. So you don't get, that's a 20-year thing. You don't get all that 20 years. By the time you launch, you may only have 10. And also, there's going to be competitors here. I think just even the patent cliff is one thing, but essentially once you get competitors, this is attracting enormous number of competitors into this space, and they're going to come in the next 5 years, and there will be novel drugs that are slightly better, slightly different, so Novo will have to compete.
Brilliant. Sylvia's been doing all the hard work on this one. John, she's got a question or two for you.
Yeah, John, I'm interested to get your thoughts on these rumors from some U.S. lawmakers about changing the pricing for some of these Novo Nordisk drugs. How much of a problem do you think this could be in the future for Novo Nordisk if indeed there is pressure here to bring down some of those prices?
I think the pressure on prices started out with the IRA and all of the pressure on small molecules, and now they're trying to extend it. Essentially, of course, the government is looking at the price of pharmaceuticals and absolutely as taxpayers would expect them to do. I expect, though, that the effect is not going to be immediate. It'll be a gradual thing. There's a lot of money tied up in the whole healthcare system in the United States, which, of course, is driving most of the value. And I think that will take time to evolve. And by the time those things start kicking in on prices, I would expect the pharmaceutical companies to have more innovative drugs and actually just keep growing. So I'm not seeing that as a massive headwind at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, John, we've also got the FDA approval of Wegovy then as more than just weight management drug as well. If that improves insurance cover, I mean, revenues are bound to increase as well. So the runway here is said to be even better for Novo Nordisk.
I think this is the beauty of what Novo has done with semaglutide, which is to start out in diabetes, to move it on to obesity, and then to move on to cardiovascular. And they've taken the risk of phase 3 trials to go into cardiovascular as well. So the extension into lots of different indications gives it a lot of more runway, and you can get extension of value from that point of view. So they're doing absolutely the right thing in actually building more value from that very strong molecule.
Yeah, I mean, over the last 5 years or so, just looking at numbers, net profit has been above 31% in the last 5 years. I mean, that shows great consistency. But in order to keep that up, do they have to just stick to what they're good at? Or is there going to come a time where they'll probably need to then diversify a little bit more?
They have stuck with what they're good at for many years, and they're good at is the diabetes and all the biology and all the mechanism of actions. And I think, fortune favors a prepared mind. The obesity thing just came. Some people say, oh, well, they got lucky on obesity, as did Lilly. Well, no, actually. They did a lot of work in research and development on that area. They deeply understood it. And then, basically, that enabled them to do more. So I think that ability to constantly stick with what you're good at and move into adjacent things, because it's adjacent, it's the same molecule, it's in an adjacent indication, is great. The days of these mega mergers where you bolt on something completely different, I don't think that's Novo's style.